Welcome to Dip a Toe, the show that explores crypto and digital assets. It's our goal to educate, empower, and inspire you to seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play a role in the financial revolution. Tonight, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Amanda, Miss Amanda Jones, Archer, Optimistic Prime. How are you doing tonight, Amanda?
I'm good. I just realized you're jumping between Wi-Fi and my phone, so I'm gonna have to turn that off as soon as I get muted. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yep. You kind of froze. I want to welcome. So far, we have 12 people watching. Welcome Lisa A and Susan Roblin. If you guys would please like and share this stream out, we would appreciate it. Get a little bit more people in here. Super excited, guys. Tonight we have a very special guest known as Vet on X. He's at vet_XO. And for those of you that don't know, Vet is a significant figure within the XRP Ledger community. He's not just an XRP holder, he's actually a node validator, and he's been actively shaping the XRPL's future through the amendment voting and including developments like the AMM clawbacks, X cross-chain bridge, and the XRP fees modification that they made recently. Beyond his technical contributions, Vet is dedicated to educating the community. He goes on a lot of different spaces and provides insightful sessions on topics ranging from smart contracts to DAOs. His commitment to fostering a knowledgeable and engaged XRP community is evident through everything that he does and all the educational spaces that he participates and his informative X posts. So if you're not following him on X, please do. You won't regret it, especially if you are someone that is participating or interested in the XRP community, the XRP Ledger. So tonight we're excited to delve in to his experiences, his vision for the XRP Ledger, and what's next for this pivotal blockchain technology.
Hey, sorry, I realized you were bouncing between Wi-Fi and my phone data because I'm sitting in the truck. So it's all fixed now, and I can't wait for this conversation.
No problem. We've got 45 people in here already. That's incredible. You guys, please like, share, and subscribe to @Dip-a-Toe on both YouTube and Rumble, and our X channel on X @Dip-a-Toe Show. For some reason, I got a error message, so I don't know if it's streaming on the Dip-a-Toe channel. Doggone it. Every time I don't know what's happening. Sometimes the connection gets lost, but now it looks like it's working. So hopefully it is streaming on our channel. It is streaming also on my World Be Free 888 X page. So you can watch it there as well. We have Cosmic Mama Shay's in the house. Ada's in the house. Tiara's in the house. You guys, thank you so much for coming. So yeah, let's pull Mr. Vet.
No further ado, let's get Vet on here.
This is super exciting because, you know, most of us listen to him on the spaces, and I always find it so awesome to put a face with a name or a face with someone that you're talking to or listening to, especially people that you've come to form like a lot of respect for this person. And so I'm excited to share him with our audience. So let's get him in here. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Dip-a-Toe, Vet. How are you this evening? Oh, you're muted, I think.
Oh, no, it's better, I think.
There you go.
Thanks for having me. Very excited.
We appreciate you coming so much. You know, you're quite the popular person, and I don't mean that in a high school kind of way, but you've gained quite a reputation for yourself as a reasonable-minded validator for the XRP Ledger. You have a way of explaining things to people to help them gain a better understanding of what the XRP Ledger actually does and its possibilities. And whenever these amendments come out and you guys are voting, and people that may not understand exactly what's happening, they get upset because something's going to get passed or something's not going to get passed. And I've noticed over the past year or so, you swoop in and you bring your even-handed, logical reasoning behind some of these amendments, and so I'm thrilled to have you on the Dip a Toe show.
Appreciate it.
So my first question for you is, how did you get interested in blockchain technology, and then particularly, like, what led you to the XRP Ledger out of all of the different projects and blockchains that are out there? What led you to that one?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it really started with, and so in 2017, I came across a video that was talking about the Bitcoin fork update, actually, for SegWit. It was in June, July 2017. And I clicked on it, and I'm a very curious person. And of course, I'm also a tech nerd. So I guess it had to be like that way. And I got into Bitcoin very quickly. And I was fascinated by the technology behind it, by the existing community. I mean, mind you, 2017 back then was already very far ahead, because it's not 2013 or 12 or something like that, where the community is very small. So a very big community. And I saw also a lot of people who did other things with other cryptos. You get into the coin market cap, you can see then all the tokens that they're out there. And very quickly, I got into platforms like Reddit back then. They were very huge for the community. And yeah, actually, the riddles got me really into the XRP community then. Yeah, because back then there was not the bearable guy, the bear, for example, but people were riddling about the meanings, about certain things, what's upcoming, because back then people speculated about XRP being listed on Coinbase. There was a huge thing. And so a lot of these things that people were talking about got me very excited, and to look into it, but not really from a tech perspective, just from a community perspective and what Ripple is doing. So for me was Ripple. And that really fixed me to come into the XRP Ledger and into the Ripple community back then really much. So yeah, that's how I joined.
Those riddlers are very intriguing, and if you followed any other of the riddlers for other things, like particularly started in 2016-ish, where there was a lot of riddling going on, a lot of the truthers and that type of thing. And I agree, stumbling upon the XRP community in discovering the riddles. Bitcoin has their own set of riddlers too. But yeah, I could see how that would be really intriguing, especially for somebody who's likes to really delve into things and research things, and you seem to really do that well. So what about so you're technical minded. Were you already in the tech field? Like, what is your skills and knowledge in that? Like, are you working actively in tech already at this point?
Yeah. So I studied computer science and also mathematics, and really much went further into the analytics route in computer science. I did a bunch of things also on a volunteer basis, where I was actually also for a very long time in between studying and also graduating as a paramedic. So was working as a paramedic for a while as well. Really huge fan because I like the social component. And I was also teaching for a very, very long time, even I think 1.5, 2 years ago still, teaching as a lot of people who try to shift into tech, people who are maybe trying to get a new job, homeless people, people who have like disadvantaged people, you would call, that are really not fortunate with either their educational degree or how far they have come to maybe get a new chance in this new industry. So I was doing this also on a volunteer basis for a very long time, teaching as well. And then pretty much more and more it went to XRP Ledger, the actual technology on the with the XRPL, and building businesses on top there. So now we have XRP Cafe and First Ledger, for example, who are on the XRPL, and that is really taking a lot of time, obviously, there, and working with the community. But that is how I came. So I came from pretty much computer science, math, and bunch of teaching side things, and then it came to the XRP Ledger, and now basically that's the home, even from a work basis. Yeah.
Amanda, that does not surprise me one single bit that he was volunteering his time to teach people in need. It doesn't surprise me at all. I'm very my gut instincts on people are pretty good. I get good vibes and that sort of thing. And as soon as I would hear you speak on these spaces, I'm like, this young man is a good person, good people. And I'm curious for you. A lot of us feel like we've all been kind of drawn to XRP because this is not something that the average person just stumbles on, right? And most everybody that I've met in this community are, good-hearted people like yourself, wanting to educate others, help others in any way that they can. And so I just wondered, like, what do you feel about that? When you did stumble on it, was it just because you were such, into researching in that, or do you feel like there was a higher calling for you to actually come in and find it and realize you could really use this to help other people?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting story that you touched on, because it really happened that way. So I left out between 2017, where I got into XRP. Then there came the huge crash in 2018. Was a very hard bear market, back from the all-time highs down, as people know. And from that time on, I dabbled back into Bitcoin and learning about it. I gave also seminars at my university about Bitcoin, double spending, game theory. It was very interesting to me. So I still kept, even though it was a really hard bear market, kept to still be engaged about the technology, because I didn't want to believe it's all gone now, because people were really giving up, and we was like, okay, that's it. Even a lot of colleagues were saying, hey, that's it. Should just move on. It was like I told you so. And then also a lot of in Ethereum, actually, because that was where then 2018, 19, 20, 19, 20, a lot of the attention went with DeFi and the upcoming of Uniswap. And so I spent a lot of time there, but always had XRP in my mind, kept up with the news, but not really much engaged in the ecosystem, because that was back then even very, very small, knowingly now. And so and I was really much looking where I would dedicate more time to, either more on the Ethereum side, where the ecosystem and the community was really going and businesses were created and a lot of things were going on, or if I going to turn back and look more into what's going on with the XRP community, XRP Ledger. And that is now the story, basically, where I told myself, okay, if something happens for myself, if there's a sign like within this week, then I have to go basically back to XRP community and XRP Ledger and start doing something there. And funny enough, something happened actually in my life in that week, and I was like, okay, that's it. I will focus back on XRP Ledger and XRP, because it was really difficult for me to navigate and know, okay, where should you really focus your time on. even from an investment perspective, like a lot of people are holding a lot of tokens, like where are you going to position yourself? So I was in that moment where it was really lost, you could say. And so I was, okay, let's see, if something happens and maybe there's something, I will dedicate it to XRP. And yeah, again, it did actually something happen. I was like, okay, damn, that's scary. um I should then follow through with what I said. And so maybe you could say it's higher will that prevailed here. And so I joined the community, and honestly, I'm not looking back since then. So it was a good decision. Yeah.
Have you gotten a lot of feedback from, how do you perceive your own impact on the XRP community? Like, do you have people reaching out like myself saying like, oh, you're so awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that to me. Do you find that you get that a lot?
I do get it a lot. And I'm happy for everyone who is engaging with me, and it's always a give and take, because you give and other people give you back by listening or asking questions. And to be honest, a lot of the things, to understand better, you really need also good questions, because then you're asking yourself, good question, actually. So by explaining actually all of these things, you understand better. And so one can argue it's also very much selfish to get a better understanding of what's going on. And so it's a very mutual benefit. So I'm really happy when people are like that, specifically when people are like all of us are evolving through this journey together, get a better understanding, get to know more people. Every day, every week, every month, you feel like, okay, I'm now further than I was, just a month ago. And that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you having background in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then of course the XRP Ledger, that makes you a really well-rounded person. I started out in Bitcoin and learning everything I could about the Bitcoin, their ecosystem, the blockchain, and met a lot of wonderful people. I never dipped my toe too deeply in Ethereum, but I believe that it definitely has value, and so it's good that you have a lot of knowledge underneath you if you've went in and researched and participated in all these different ecosystems. I wonder, is there a difference in community across the three? And obviously there's other tokens and coins that have vibrant communities,
Right.
but the three major ones, are you seeing a similar vibe across all of them, with the people that are involved and with the intentions and building and that sort of thing? I just wonder if you notice similarities or any differences between the three of them.
Yeah, that is a really good question. So, like really, really good, because uh, the XRP community, knowing, like, for even outsiders, is a very, very powerful community. I think the social power of the XRP community is very, very strong, and a lot of people know that that's why the term comes from XRP army, right? So it's literally like one unit, essentially. And so from a similarity, I would say the Bitcoin community has very much similarities for that, where they have, so people call it a cult, right? So a lot of people call cults, so they say like that. I don't find it a negative word, to be honest. I think there's a lot of properties, and about a cult, you could say, or a community that are very positive, which is not necessarily has something to do with the technology. It's like the belief, the unshakable belief, the conviction that people have, that they can rally behind this vision. Because I'm a pretty much believer of, if a lot of people believe in something, it kind of starts to materialize. And self-fulfilling prophecy and all of this, like where people think, hey, if you if you believe you are sick, then you become sick. If you believe, hey, I'm healthy, then the power of the mind, you stay healthy. And that transitions pretty much also to things like XRP or blockchain and the community behind something like that, where XRP as a token, just like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they have no counterparty. Like there's no one behind it. It's pretty much the value of it is driven by faith and belief. Just like gold, you would say, right? People are trusting, hey, gold, silver has value, has had value for thousands of years, so they associate value to it. And the same thing is also with XRP, and you need a community belief with it. So I would say Bitcoin is very close to it, but it still has its own dynamic. Specifically, I would say how how they interact maybe with each other.
Yeah.
With Ethereum, it starts to come up with Ethereum as well, because now we have also a lot of people who are building on the XRP ledger. And actually, aside from Ripple is the biggest builder, you can say, is building their enterprise product suite. But you see more people are coming up, and there's more going on the XRP ledger. So it's pretty much a mix, I would say now.
Yeah. Amanda, you're quiet, but I know that this kind of talk resonates with you. What are some of your thoughts on this?
I have so many questions. I mean, I obviously would love to hear more about your what you know about the lore and like the specific riddlers that you found and what they said to you. I think it's really interesting that Melissa said she's not surprised about your background. I think it's very interesting that you also have the paramedic side. My background, I went to nursing school and I studied international development, and I'm I love math, and I've always loved math. So, I definitely see the correlation between the do-gooder, the kind-hearted person who's really smart and sort of trying to figure out, where they fit in the world. And I mean, I just can't wait for more of the questions that Melissa has planned and stuff, because I think that you have so much knowledge, but you also have so much experience, and I think that that's what sets you apart. Where it never even occurred to me to be a node. To like, well, it has plenty of times. I've thought about it, and then when you posted that thing last week, I was like, "What do you mean, Vet's teaching us?" Like, and so there's just so much about you that I'm just so fascinated by, and I'm really excited to like get to know you a little bit better, and put a face to a title, a little, your little mushroom character is pretty cute. And and so I'm just thrilled to be here, and I'm thrilled to be listening. And I obviously can ask 1,001 questions, but I won't bombard you because Melissa has this planned.
I just want to say we have 121 folks listening across all the platforms. If you guys would please like and share and subscribe, let's get more people in here. I do want to say hello to MM, and Havoc Actual is here. Crypto Glama's here. Tony Bags, Crypto Shark. Some called me the crypto whisperers. It's very Nerdy. My friend Nerdy's in here. What's up?
I was just gonna say, I was like, what? Nerdy's here.
I love me some nerds. So I'm wondering, I want to kind of go off into a little bit of the technical deep dive, as far as the smart contracts and DAOs. I kind of wanted your perspective on the future of the smart contracts and DAOs that are happening, beginning to happen on the XRP ledger. With your experience with Ethereum, so you're familiar with the power that they bring to the ecosystem. So I just kind of wanted to know what your perspective is with what's happening. Are you super excited? I mean, there's laymen like myself where a bit of news comes out, and since I don't know the technical details behind everything, I've had to slow my roll a little bit and not be so trigger happy to retweet things that I don't understand. But so you're the perfect person to ask that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the XRP ledger currently doesn't have smart contracts. It's what people would refer as a fixed function ledger, which means you have a certain set of features that it can do, and only that. Okay, so it's what you see is what you get, essentially, and that has a lot of advantages in terms of safety, because you know exactly what the things are doing, and there's nothing else that can happen, and that's really good, fantastic for, you know, even if you think of things like payments, banks, institutions. It's more on the safety side. It's something people appreciate, but also developers or just retail people appreciate that property as well. And so with that, you have also a lot of very simple, basically transactions that you can do then, therefore. And they are very, very simple to understand. They're not complicated. And smart contracts, on the other hand, what they allow you is to put them like Lego bricks together and create something bigger and more complex out of it, just with your own custom logic. So basically, you could think of the XRP Ledger maybe covers, let's say, 70% of what use cases you can do, and for the rest of the 30%, it might not be a great fit because you need that extra customizability that you don't have here. And with smart contracts, what you can add is this customizability part, where you can change it up a little bit and make it fit for you so that you can still use it. Currently, that is not possible, as I said, but very recently, Brad Garlinghouse came out and was announcing that they're really looking forward to push the discussion and development of smart contracts on the XRP Ledger. David Schwartz also held a Twitter space on it to answer questions about it, because for a very long time, it was seen that smart contracts would not be a good fit on the XRPL for numerous reasons, but most, I would say, most discussed would probably be the resource consumption. So you'd want to keep um, the use case of payments still valid, of course, and not ruin it by adding more to it and making it more clunky. So you're kind of defeating the purpose in the first place. So you want to be mindful by adding and changing things up. But we figured out essentially that, hey, as a community, we don't need full smart contracts like Ethereum. On Ethereum, you can do everything. Yeah, you have basically everything that you want to. On XRP Ledger, you have no smart contract, so it's either a 0 or 1. And what if you can do like 50%? Like you can do some smart contract functionality, not a lot, not like Ethereum, but maybe that's not needed. And because not everything is needed, it is less burden on the network, and therefore you can do it. And with smart contracts, you have like all these awesome functionalities on the XRPL that you can then enable, where you can pull together. Just for example, you send a payment transaction to maybe Melissa, and then her account automatically is going to emit an NFT or something like that, or even maybe a payment back, fully automatic on the XRP Ledger that you can see, and custom logic, business logic on chain. DAOs are a use case of that. DAOs would utilize these smart contracts for their own purpose. Think of treasury functionality. Think of grants, where you can say, hey, if you reach a certain threshold of people donating or putting funds together, crowdfunding, then you actually lock the funds and then distribute it. And if you don't reach the threshold, it sends the money back to the people who tried to crowdfund, essentially, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So DAOs would be essentially a use case of that, and I'm excited if DAOs on the XRP Ledger will use it, and when smart contracts are actually going to come, because right now it's only discussion, but it's a major step that I think for 2025 will be very, very exciting to witness. Yeah.
This is something that, I mean, I don't know. No questions are dumb. That's what we say here on the Dip and Toe Show. I've always have this thought process that, there's not one blockchain or distributed ledger to rule them all. And we don't want it to be that way. We don't want to be cornered into one choice only. And I know that there, Ripple and XRP Ledger and the community, they really are all about the interoperability. And so I know there's lots of different things being developed where, these things can interoperate with one another. Do you see that as a possibility, or is it already happening? It's something I don't know about, to where you could incorporate a smart contract from one chain, and still use some part of the XRP ledger, or is that not possible?
Just a while ago, maybe you could say 2 or 3 years ago, people would say no, but now yes, actually. And we have XLR. Maybe you have heard about that.
I have.
Upcoming, the bridge for the XRP Ledger to over 50 plus chains. And this functionality is not only bridge for asset portability. Essentially, you can transfer XRP or XRP value to other chains, or even RLUSD to other chains, but even going forward with something like their messaging standard. They have a messaging standard protocol, general message passing, I think GPG it's called. And this essentially would do exactly what you said, where on the XRP Ledger, you can basically do a transaction or a messaging, and on a destination chain, let's say Solana or Ethereum, a smart contract gets executed, like a remote, essentially, execution, which would be exactly what you said. On the XRPL, you remote steer a smart contract on Ethereum, for example. That would be totally possible, and that is upcoming as well. There's just one caveat with that, and that's basically the delay or time delay. So you can think of Ethereum is maybe a slower chain, so it needs more time to execute, maybe more complex smart contracts. And from the time you submit from the XRP Ledger and it reaches there and processes, so it takes a little bit more time than if you would have just executed natively on Ethereum. But I'm certain that there will be very interesting use cases that people will build with it, that maybe are not time critical. Something like liquidations, like DeFi liquidations, that would be probably not a great fit, because it's very much you need it right now. So you need to liquidate someone real quick because their loan is underwater, and you need to basically liquidate them. And if it just takes a couple of minutes, that's not good, because that's bad debt. But anything that is not time critical, I think it's a great use case.
So yeah, that's exciting to think about. And it seems like they all have their own issues. I mean, Ethereum, it might execute it quickly, but it's kind of expensive. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of their tokens, if you want to move it or whatever, everything seems expensive to me for someone who doesn't really use Ethereum. So I'm not really talking bad about them, but and then you have Bitcoin, which is a little bit slower. You have XRP, so it's like I see a beautiful thing where they're all kind of, hey, they all have their things that they're really, really good at, and it's exciting to think that there's something being built that is going to make it so that they can interoperate with each other. And I just think that, like, that's what we need as people. We need more choices and things that work well together. And so I just think that's really, really interesting. I want your perspective on the big news is, RLUSD. You knew I was going to ask about that. That came out. Was that yesterday, or the day before yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
It feels like it was a week ago already.
I know, right? The time is flying by.
Crazy.
And so, everyone's super, super excited. I wanted to get your perspective on why you think that this is such an awesome, monumental thing and a good thing for the XRP Ledger. That's part one. And then part two, a lot of people were confused of why they would mint it on, I think I'm using the right word, on the Ethereum network also, or have it on that network also. And so if you could share with the folks why that's so important, what that means to them as an end user of these products, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so RLUSD launched yesterday, and to be honest, it suddenly hit the DEX, and it was live, and people were start trading it. And leading up to that, there was a lot of questions regarding it. How does it work? Why do we need it even? And the current landscape on the XRP Ledger is we don't have a quality stablecoin, one with deep liquidity. Like we don't have Circle USDC, we don't have Tether USDT, and that is pretty much putting a bottleneck on how fast the ecosystem can grow with decentralized finance. We have the automated market maker, we have reward asset tokenization, we have lending and borrowing coming up. So these puzzle pieces really need also something that is stable in value, but deep also in liquidity. And RLUSD, or pretty much any other deep liquidity token like USDC, would probably also would have worked, but they haven't issued on the XRPL, so Ripple took that as a lead, and is absolutely necessary. So just to be clear, it's very much necessary to have it in the ecosystem. It's like a must-have to grow the ecosystem, specifically DeFi. So it's an enabler.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
So, so you said they didn't have it up till now. It's necessary. Do you think that is by design? That so I've built a business before, and they always say you never want to grow too fast to where you cannot service everyone. So, if you make bracelets and they're fantastic and everyone loves them, and you put it out online, and the next thing you know, you have thousands of orders coming in, and then everybody's talking crap because they ordered it 3 months ago and you still can't give them their bracelet. And so before you even really got off in being super successful at it, you've already knocked yourself off at the knees because you blew it open too soon. And so do you think this could possibly be a way that they kind of controlled some of that by not, or do you just think the other tokens didn't want to be on XRP Ledger?
So so I think for some issuers, maybe for Circle, let's pick Circle, it's kind of weird that they are not issuing on the top 3 blockchain. Like we are the top 3 blockchain, and they have issued on Solana, on Stellar, on a bunch of other chains. I think HBAR as well, a bunch of other chains who are further down the list, but not on the XRP Ledger. And it begs the question why, of course. And I personally, and this is of course only speculation, I think it's more indeed political than has anything to do with XRP Ledger. So or with customers, it's more like we don't want to do that with the XRP for whatever reason. I cannot tell you, but it just stands out. And I think what we have seen also very recently with Cardano and Charles Hoskinson, looking at the Wyoming stablecoin, I think there was like a program, and which blockchains were excluded,
Yes,
and they excluded Cardano and XRP Ledger and a bunch of other chains, but they included Stellar, which is a fork of the XRP Ledger. So what is the reasoning to enable it on XRP on Stellar, which is also very much lower in market cap, liquidity, and quite frankly, community and everything else? Why would you do that and not on XRPL? So there's more and more evidence for me that it's political. I cannot tell you why that is the case, but once I think maybe also Ripple identified that, they took that into their own hands and say, hey, we can onboard our own people and customers with our own stablecoin, because we know as well from Brad Garlinghouse's interview that he said, I think 20 to 25 or 30% of all RLUSD mintings were happening through them. So Ripple contributed a ton of the total USDC minting, and that is a big thing. And to be honest, we cannot verify that because that's of course a business relationship, and we don't know all wallets. But there are hints that what Brad and Ripple is claiming is true, and that is actually to kind of go back to RLUSD. The RLUSD Ethereum contract. Okay, so on Ethereum, the contract, it's very similar like on XRP Ledger. You can activate an account by sending XRP to it. So I send XRP to an account, the account gets activated on the XRPL. On XRP Scan Explorers, you can see who activated the account. So you can see, okay, Melissa activated, someone else's account. Okay, so you see the trail, you see the ancestry essentially, and you can see that as well on Ethereum. And I'm pretty sure it was probably a mistake. You can see the ancestry of the RLUSD Ethereum contract. So who activated that account? It was not a fresh account, which you usually would do. So you would take a fresh account and start from scratch. But what they did there is they used an account that is very certain and a Ripple wallet, business account, that was not really disclosed. And if you go through that account, and I did a little bit, you can see that they moved hundreds of millions of USDC over the last 1,500 days. So many years, like over many years, they moved just with this account many hundred millions of dollars of USDC. And that's probably just one account out of many, because Ripple has, even on the XRP Ledger, I think 50 plus accounts. And so that's probably just one account of many. So it just goes back to, what Brad was saying, that they minted 20 to 30% of, what Circle, had just with one customer. So imagine one customer is 20-30% of your business. That's essentially, what happened here with Circle USDC. And that is huge. That is, of course, very huge. And
that's super fascinating.
Yeah, that's very fascinating. And it just tells me that they have the demand, but they were essentially letting others profit, like Circle USDC, because they were the on and off ramp. Because that's one of the benefits, if we can talk about that, is for RLUSD.
Yep.
It's essentially a huge on and off ramp for institutions, because only institutions can on and off ramp with these companies like Ripple, because to be a Ripple customer, you need to be an institution to have all the regulation. And so for them, if you have $100 million, how do you move this on chain? How can you move $100 million on chain without going into a volatile asset, like doing a buy, essentially, like you buying something, an asset, which probably has also tax implications, and institutions are very mindful of that. So how are you able to move $100 million on chain to then do whatever you want to do there, DeFi, buying XRP, or what else? How are you able to move $100 million? And stablecoins seem to be a perfect fit for institutions to say, hey, to Ripple, I give you $100 million. I deposit this into your bank account. And Ripple says, okay, cool. I have the 100 million now. I'm going to issue you now 100 million RLUSD. On which blockchain do you want? Okay, so then the customer says, I want on XRP Ledger. Then they're going to mint it on XRP Ledger, or I want it on Ethereum. Then they're going to mint it on Ethereum. And there will be a lot of traffic coming just from that as an on and off ramp for institutions. And the big part here is that if this money has an easier access to chains like the XRP Ledger and Ethereum, to support many blockchains has actually benefits, because you can allow interoperability very easily with a stable coin, because you have an issuer like Ripple, and they can burn it on one chain and reissue on another, or vice versa. So if I'm on the XRP Ledger and I say, hey, Ripple, I want to have my XRP on Ethereum now, they say, no problem. We're going to destroy it on XRP Ledger and give it to you on Ethereum. So you keep one, it's always one. It never exists one same RLUSD on both chains, because then you have like a duplication.
Duplication.
Yeah. And
Can you,
that's bad.
Sorry, can you're like touching on so many things for our
Yeah.
diptoers that are watching. And so our objective with this show is to inspire people to
Yeah.
learn more about this. For those that are a little bit wary of getting into crypto and they think it's a scam and they think it's dangerous and all of that, you touched on a couple of different things. Number one, the traceability of these wallets, being able to track them. And then I wondered if you could briefly explain the minting. Like we talk about, they mint it on this blockchain or this distributed ledger. What does that actually mean to the layman person? If I have $100 and I give it to you and I want it, and you say I'm going to mint it here, what does that mean for that person
Yeah. So
or
I think
business?
the word is pretty much taken, I think, from you mint tokens like bullion coins or something like that. The refiner, the mint, and you essentially create it out of thin air, you can say, right? You create these tokens and have it on the XRP Ledger or blockchain, and you have an as a digital object that you can then do something with it. So you can take this one RLUSD or one stable coin or whatever that is and transfer it to other people and have it there. So by minting, you just create it. So you can just say you just create it. Now you can say,
What
well,
happens to the cash? What happens to the cash? So
very
I
good.
got $100,000 and I deposited into my
Yep.
bank, and then the bank wants to mint it on the XRP ledger. Where does the cash go?
So the cash goes actually into a custodian, and they gonna hold that $100,000, and they're gonna keep it there. And Ripple will, just like many other uh, stablecoin issuers, allow monthly reserve attestations. So each month you can say, okay, they have still the $100,000 in the bank account, and so that you are knowing there. And of course, um, stable coins have also something to do, of course, with trust, because you have a counterparty. So a random person telling you, hey, just deposit $100,000 in this account, I'm going to do, it's not worth much, right? Because the person can just run away with it. You have no idea what's going on. So having reputation is very, very important. And Circle has it, you know, and Ripple certainly has it. So that makes them actually very, very in a good position to do something like that, because among institutions and quite frankly, even retail, they have a good reputation. They have a good reputation, and to use this reputation essentially to build something up like a stablecoin business is pretty much a no-brainer. And you can see that happening essentially right now. What
Sounds
they're
like
doing.
they were practicing to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like
So-
beta test coin might be an actual thing to me, and that like the whole strategy was to get to the point where they actually knew what they were doing and all the the kinks, and like basically what you're telling me from my perspective is that they they disclosed it by using that wallet. I mean, somebody made that decision. They were disclosing that wallet on purpose because they wouldn't have done it otherwise, and that allowed people like you to investigate it to see that like they've been practicing for a long time to get this right.
So the interesting part, this is something that I would say Ripple would do. Okay, that sounds something that Ripple would do, because so even if they do like something like this, like let's say they maybe jab at other people who are jabbing at them, or doing something like that, they do it usually in a very elegant way, and more sophisticated, you can tell.
Yeah.
So by probably you can say it's a difficult thing, but you can definitely say that it might be a jab that says, hey, let's use a wallet that we use for USDC to activate our USD as sort of a jab for Circle, and to kind of show, hey, look, I mean, that sounds something that they would do for
Yeah.
me. I don't know if this is likely or not. It could be also just a complete mistake. And I mean, that equally for me likely. Um, But
Oh,
yeah.
really? You think that it might have been a mistake?
I personally think it's a mistake, but because it's not something you would do. It stands out very much out. But because maybe it stands so much out, you could say, well, it cannot be really a mistake. So I let both pass. You can go with both.
For
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it's like even from my perspective, building tokens. I mean, you've built so much on XRP. It's like one of the first
Yeah.
questions you ask yourself. You say, okay, you know, how is this going to go? You know, everybody's going to look at it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's more like if you were looking into Ripple, if you had been ignoring it all this time, whispers of, you know, the crazy conspiracy theorists talking about it, and you've been ignoring it, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, RLUSD, wait a second, and then this happened, I would be like, whoa, wait a second. They've been practicing for, you know, 5 years, doing a very good job under the guise of Circle, as it were. And, you know, obviously, have you seen Rig from the Start yet?
Sorry?
Have you seen the movie by Fruition Productions, Rig from
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
Start? Like
saw
that
that.
was
Yep.
XRP Unleashed. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And so then
Okay.
obviously, you know, those trickles, the trickles of truth are coming out in different ways. And so being able to claim your aspect of the truth in like like you said, in like, you know, a
transparent way.
subtle, yeah, a really subtle, you know, I got the vision of the Sigma boys, you know, the Sigma meme coin, like that very, you know, dapper, sideways, put on a suit and tie, show your smile, and then say, you know, we know what we're doing. So yeah, super interesting that you even knew that you even looked at the wallets, you know, so much of us know about these things, but we don't have the time or the effort or don't really care. And we have no idea what we're looking at. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So kind of when you were talking about taking the $100,000 and minting it on the XRP ledger, and then the cash goes to where they're holding that then for you. I kind of want to touch a little bit more like how this is different than the bank. So like right now we get paid, we put the money in the bank. We all in the past used to assume they have all our money there, right? We didn't realize that they were taking our money and loaning it out to Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Janet, and Sally, and whoever, right? We have no
banking,
idea.
right?
Yes, the fractionalized banking. But this is different because it is a one-to-one, right? They're supposed to, and they are going to be transparent and have a third-party audit, monthly audits, transparent, and the fact that you'll be able to see it on the chain. You'll be able to see that your money is there. You've got your coins minted. Now, in the event that you want to just take your whole money out, right? Like as if you were going to withdraw your money from the bank, so to speak. If they give that 100,000, take it out of the vault and give it back to you, do those 100,000 worth of XRP then get burned from the ledger?
Yes.
Okay, so those get burned, right? Okay. Okay. So this is something I did not realize.
So when you
For the first time, I'm putting it together for the first time, because if they get burned, then that's lessening the supply.
They're not burning XRP, they're burning RLUSD, the token that they issued.
Got you. Okay. It's just the RLUSD, not the
Yeah.
XRP. It's the RLUSD. So the RLUSD is just a representation of the money that you're giving to put on and have them mint. Yes. And
100%.
then you'll be able to track it but right now, when we put our money in the bank, we don't see what the banks are doing behind closed doors and where our money went or any of that stuff. There is a question from MM. Shout out to MM and shout out to Stone and Tony Bags. Big watch dude. Welcome to Dip a Toe. Would the deposit be a regular deposit so they can lend it out, or a special deposit?
Yeah, so they're not lending it out or anything like that. What they do is they guarantee that it's going to be a one-to-one dollar pack or backed by $1 to $1. But those dollars can be also treasuries, like short-term treasuries, T-bills. and cash equivalents. So anything that is like cash, they bucket that. If you look at the composition of other major stable coins, that's typically can be like 80% actual dollars, like actual cash, 80%. Then they put maybe 8% actual cash and maybe treasuries as well to generate the yield that makes actually the business so profitable. And then they put also a lot of sometimes other holdings. I think, for example, Tether, they hold maybe 4 or 5% Bitcoin, something like very low amount in percentage in Bitcoin. So you can do that as well. That's allowed. You can have that. So even Ripple could have a couple percentage XRP. That would be possible if they would do that. That would still count as fits.
What about
the
gold or silver?
It would fit as well. Yeah, would fit as well. A couple percentages. That's also totally possible. Tether is doing that actually too for a small amount, very small. So you can do that, or even corporate bonds or other loans that you hold and you generate yield. That's also totally fine. But typically, it's so the majority is typically actual cash and short-term treasuries, where they can generate yield
revenue.
based out of interest rates we have. It's actually very lucrative. I mean, if you just look at Tether, they made, I think, was it 2023 or 2024 so far, more money profit wise than BlackRock. So and Tether is just a couple people, because
Incredible.
you can imagine they have over 100 billion, 130 billion dollars in market cap, which means for stablecoins, if you have 130 billion market cap, that means also 130 billion dollars are somewhere, and or should be. Let's put it that way. And these 130 billion, they generate yield, and even just a couple percentages of on 130 billion is a ton of money.
I mean, if you think about it, so that's where people are, it's kind of like, I know this stuff, but talking to you and having it come out, like I say, you're a great teacher. You explain things in a great way for people to understand. So it's like when people think about you're getting into crypto, 9 times out of 10, if you wanted to buy one of those random tokens, you are using USDT to get in as the entry ramp into. So you're taking your fiat and getting it into the system, converting it to Tether, right? They got your money now. They give you you're able to then trade your Tether. They mint the Tether for you, and then you buy the tokens that you want or whatever. And so I never really got that concept of, well, how are all these different things giving you interest back and all that? Because they're making so much freaking money, and they want to attract you to come. So now I'm thinking, like, they probably have, these deals. How do they decide who they want to work with and who they don't want to work with? These, where you're going to stake your coins, or you're going to, whether it's BitTrue or whatever, and the piggy bank and all of that kind of stuff, that it makes it's like one hand washes the other type of thing. And then they kind of spill it into your hands to entice you to come there. Am I close?
Yeah. So as far as I know, and so far that's the current state of it, is they are not passing on the yield, at least directly to you guys and us, like here. But they might well pass it on to their partners, other institutions, or even the launch partners like Uphold and others. They might actually do that. Could be a good question to ask them, and see and incentivize them essentially to help with onboarding more people and all of that. But at the end of the day, we have to be clear here. Them doing it is, of course, they're not a charity, right? Ripple's not a charity. They're a business for profit. They want to make money, and they want to grow their business, and quite aggressively, because that's what you do as a business, specifically in crypto. And it's a very profitable business, and right now stablecoins are really the product market fit in crypto currently. So the business that runs the best right now, if you are a big institution, is currently the stablecoin business that is making a lot of money. Not only the treasuries that are generating, but also the on and off ramps. Specifically, the off ramps is where they take a tiny amount, and that is very lucrative. Specifically because right now on chain a lot of things are happening, and there's a lot of DeFi, there's a lot of movement, and people are coming in, so it attracts people, attracts money to come in and participate, and that makes a lot of money for those people who are sitting there.
Wasn't it MoonPay who like was joking around yesterday saying they might? Okay, yeah. And then also I wanted to say, so Stone, he made a joke, but he's funny. You know Stone, right? Let everyone that the stable coin is basically so that people can move their money from these other networks to the XRPL. So I thought that was pretty cute. And yeah, you do know about like the MoonPay thing. Also, we don't have to talk about it today, but I did notice your little chirping on the Stellar page. And so because I originally built on Stellar, and I've been like, there's, like you said, there's more community here. There's more things going on here. There's people. That's why I'm like I'm in the process of like shifting all my tokens over, at least, anyways, this conversation is super fascinating because I'm thinking from that perspective too, of like, the arbitrage, all these questions about like, how do you transfer from one and yeah. Anyways, I'll be quiet and I'll let you answer.
No. Yeah. It's exactly what you said. So having this arbitrage cross chain is very important. This is why you have it not only on one chain. Ideally, we have RLUSD on as many chains as possible because it helps with arbitrage cross chain wide. Because you can transfer the tokens very easily as well. Plus, it shows also very much confidence in the XRP Ledger. Why? You would do this if you are also very confident that, and this goes to all holders here too, and people who are invested into the XRP Ledger, builders, community members, whatever, that the best solution at the end is the winning one. So if you believe that the best solution at the end, people will come to it, then that is ultimately where your bet. So you give people, you're not going to push people because forcing never works. But if you say, hey, look, we have here all these chains, right, and all these support chains, and you're going to pick one, right? And if you know, hey, I know the XRP Ledger is from all of these chains, it's going to be the most suited ones for specifically payments, then you let them choose Ethereum, you let them choose all these other chains, and eventually they will come back naturally to the chain that you already knew that is the one. And this is the best way to win customers over. It's not usually a good practice to say, hey, I'm only going to support XRP Ledger and nothing else, because they need to realize. You realize that already, but these institutions, they need to know that as well. And just because they are institutions doesn't mean they are not influenced heavily by other people as well, and in other institutions who tell them, hey, Solana is actually the big one and you should go into Solana or something like that. They're also very much heavily influenced by that. And yeah,
big time, because even big companies, right, whether it's a hospital or a bank or a school, even it could be, the people at the top, if they've got their side deals with so and so, best friends, blah blah blah, give the contract to that guy, type of scenario. And we saw this with the Rigged from the Start documentary, where you see these people in higher level positions making decisions that influence the market as a whole, that did influence and kind of stifle some of the innovation that would have been there had they not done that. These companies can also do that. So if you have, there's usually only a handful of folks in these large companies that are sitting in the room making these big decisions, and then it trickles down to everybody else, and everybody else just does what they're told because that's their job or whatever. And so I can see where you're saying you have a couple of people saying, yep, we're going to go with this one. And if it fails, that guy gets fired. He doesn't care because he already made a ton of money from suggesting this particular product. And so, yeah, the lucky ones are going to be the ones to find it the first time, the best fit the first time for them.
Yes.
But you're bringing up the on and off ramps, and so I just want to back up 1 second. So for our Dippito people, thinking, like we've already touched on the fact that the blockchain, the ledgers are transparent. You can trace these wallets. You can look at your own wallet and see what's happening with it, and that your money is there. And I want you to kind of just touch on that a little bit for people that are scared about it. And then also the importance of these on and off ramps, and how the regulations and the protocols that they have to adhere to in order for you to come in to the crypto space to begin with. It's no more the wild, wild west. I mean, you have to have KYC and know your customer and all of that sort of stuff. So I just wanted you to touch on the significance of that.
And can you add in anything about Basil if you want while you're answering this? Because I think that's also part of this in a way, but people are confused about that. Thanks.
Yeah. So you're totally right. And the stablecoin market, to be honest, is probably the most, I would say, regulated one ever, because you need to be pretty much on top of everything and have it very flawlessly done in order to get approved. I mean, RLUSD was approved by the New York Department of Financial Services, which is like the gold standard, specifically in the New York district, and also being in on the green list, I think as well, which is a very privileged spot. And so being on this, and we have Mika on or Micah on in Europe, which also has a ton of these regulations enforced now, that we see with USDT and Tether, where certain exchanges are, hey, giving like warnings, we're gonna delist if certain requirements are not fulfilled. And so people have to comply, essentially. People have to comply, specifically starting with stablecoins, because they are gaining probably the most traction in crypto. Just look at Tether, and just from a profit perspective. So the regulation is pretty much is starting to come in heavily here for the stablecoin issuers. And we have even the stablecoin, was it the act in the United States that is upcoming, with regulation as well for stablecoin issuers. So regulation, big topic. Even in 2025, there will be still a big topic, probably even bigger with the new administration now. And for users, this means the following: that issuers of stablecoins, specifically reputable, bigger ones who are compliant, they're more safe to use because they need to adhere to certain standards, have certain amount or certain composition of reserves. So you cannot just have, let's say, 100% T-bills or something like that. You should actually have also cash. So there's a lot to it that helps it, and they will make the whole industry much, much better in the long run for these issuers and for the end user. One thing with the with KYC and all that it goes all to the stablecoin issuers, which they need to follow for their customers, which is usually not a big issue because those customers are, again, institutions and they have everything ready. Us normal people, we cannot mint and burn RLUSD or mint and redeem with Ripple because we are not institutions. Okay, what we can do is we can hold the token RLUSD and trade it on the DEX, sell it for XRP, or buy it for XRP, whatever you want to do, or other cryptos. But directly redeeming it is more difficult as an individual. You need to be an institution because of regulation.
That makes a lot of sense. I just think a lot of people, particularly the people that they're just now starting to dip their toe. Of course, as the prices, they're all starting to rise now. Folks that I've been asking for years, putting a bug in their ear for years, are finally starting to go, what is it that you said that you like? What? And they don't even call it projects. They're like, what coin is it? Was it the Doge coin or what? That you talked about so much. And but they're still really skeptical, and a lot of people don't think that this revolution is happening. They don't even realize that it's happening. Um, how quickly, like, I feel it, if you've been watching this happen, 2016, 2017, it seemed like it was kind of going slow, but not really. I mean, if you really could understand what was happening, but to the layman person, it's like, oh, this is taking a really long time. Um, I wonder from your perspective, where do you think we are? I mean, we have a new administration coming in that's going to probably push through some things that have been laid out for years. In my opinion, these things have all been figured out ahead of time.
The
And then there's
Riddlers told us, Mel.
yeah, the Riddlers told us this has already been done. A future proofs past type event is going to happen. But I'm kind of curious, just as someone that understands the back end of these things, um, where do you think we are? If you say beginning is number one and 100 is the finish line, where do you think we fit in there as to where we're at right now?
Yeah. I don't think we are at the finish line, for sure not. But we're also not at the beginning. That that is telling you now,
Yeah,
either or. The thing is, let's start with why not at the finish line. There is a lot of things we have to overcome that are still not solved. For example, interoperability. There's a lot of good solutions. We talked about XLR, which, if you look into it, it's a fantastic solution, and how they solved it and all of this. But it's still far from, I would say, the goal to say, okay, now that is perfect. Yeah. And they also going to work, like XLR knows that too, and they're going to work on it. You have Interledger, you have like all these other protocols, and that try to address it from different angles. Interoperability, which is very crucial, because we have many chains right now, and it's not one chain that we have. And if you cannot transfer between chains very easily and seamless, um, this whole tech stack is not usable. Really,
yeah,
it's very, very hard for even normal people then to navigate through this, and that cannot be really the use case currently. So, I mean, just think about, even for builders or people who are building, you need to have different wallets on different chains. You need to lock it on one chain, use a different bridge. There's not one universal bridge. Either you are supported or you're not supported. So it's more difficult right now with interoperability. That's definitely a long-term goal that is being worked on, that you can really clearly tell is there are advantages right now of certain things, but it's still not top. And you can even go as far as with payments. Like, payments is still is probably the easiest use case
yeah,
to see, like just sending people value. And we are also not at the stage where you can say it's now mass adoption. Everybody's talking about sending um, payments with crypto or something like that. We are not there yet. Um, but that gives the opportunity, and I believe right now we are at a stage where very interesting things are coming together, which I'm really looking forward in 2025. One, you mentioned the new administration, and for the new administration, I'm really looking to see how Trump is going to treat the crypto industry, but actually, like with regulation, or in the first 100 days, see what else he's going to pass and
yeah.
bring
Me
on.
too.
Yeah, and I think this is a huge opportunity, because right now a lot of capital is flowing out of the United States because of the SEC, because of you don't know if they're going to come after you or not. Now imagine if these things like, hey, crypto businesses or crypto holdings, 0% tax. All of this money that is right now outside will come flooding back to the United States insanely, and that would be super fantastic for the crypto industry in the United States and to grow actually very, very rapidly. And second of all, I would say it's also the current adoption with the technology. We have like all these cool things right now with DeFi, AMM, with the stable coins, with RLUSD. We have the bridges XLR, and all of this together, plus the third one that a lot of people are not really talking about is, but it's creeping up, is Ripple transitioning the whole Ripple net section to the XRP Ledger DEX. So they talk about bringing Ripple payments to the XRP Ledger DEX. And that is huge. That is really, really huge. Because for a lot of people, they might would say, hey, they should have done this maybe 7-8 years ago already. But now they actually bring their customers really to the blockchain. You can point to a transaction hash and can say, hey, this is a Ripple customer. They transact on the XRP Ledger. And currently they use their own protocol. They use maybe centralized exchanges. This is why they need also their Ripple stablecoin. Is also to essentially bring them on chain, because they want to bring their whole network on chain to the XRP Ledger DEX. So all these things are coming together. We have them bringing the product to the XRPL DEX. We have the XRP Ledger DEX in itself being very capable with all these features. Plus we have now pretty much tailwind with administration. Like all these things are coming together, and 2025 for me is going to be really interesting to see how is this mix gonna work out.
I mean, it's gonna be very exciting. Like you're mentioning, I didn't even really, I guess again, I didn't even really realize that that it wasn't already. Like, I remember I saw something from David Schwartz, saying the XRP Ledger is the DEX, right? Because a lot of people didn't realize it. And for the Depositors, that's a decentralized exchange, right? Is that what a DEX is? And so you're saying they're bringing Ripple Net, their payments onto the DEX. Now, my bank, I believe, is a Ripple Net. They use Ripple Net. I think PNC Bank was one of the first banks, if I'm not mistaken, that uses some form of Ripple's protocol in the background, or they did early on in testing. As far as I know, I believe that PNC Bank uses Ripple. So I find that fascinating. But I wondered how familiar you are with Uphold. Because when I think of like at the end of the day in a perfect world, and when I think about XRP used as a bridge in between being able to exchange anything for anything, and then I think of Uphold where I can exchange anything for anything using the Uphold. So I've always wondered, like, well, what the heck do they use now? Because if I want to exchange gold for the dollar, or the yen, or for Bitcoin or whatever, I can on Uphold. And so I just wonder, like, what is so different than what they already have as far as the XRP and the DEX and bringing the payments together and all of that.
Yeah. So probably the most obvious one is that it's custodial. So let's say Uphold shuts down or they have any issues, the whole service wouldn't work anymore. And the XRP Ledger DEX or XRPL wouldn't be possible, because the XRPL DEX or XRPL will run only if a significant amount of machines and servers would go down, then would hold or go offline. And so one is custodial, one is non-custodial in that aspect. And second of all, a lot of the interesting parts are not necessarily happening on chain. So the conversion rate, let's say from XRP to let's say euro, would happen on centralized exchange side, not necessarily on the XRP Ledger DEX, which the actual trade. So the transfer might happen on the XRPL, but not really the actual trade. So when Ripple is doing, let's say, their XRP payments or transfers, where they send XRP to a centralized exchange, and then it gets sent to converted to a specific currency, let's say again euro, then that's happening on centralized exchange side. Why are they doing this? So the idea is the following: you have something like XRP that you want to use as the cross-border asset. Why would you use that? Because you know, okay, you have all these centralized exchanges who are supporting a lot of assets, but probably not every fiat asset, okay, like Brazilian real or something like that. But what you do know is they all support XRP, okay, or for 99%, they support XRP. There's barely an exchange I can even name. I think I cannot even name one exchange that does not have XRP listed. So what they use exactly that to essentially use XRP, send it to any centralized exchange in that country that the bank is at, exchange it for let's say Brazilian real or euro, and then give it to the bank or whatever institution. So that this interesting part, the last part, the trade, is not happening really necessarily on the XRP Ledger DEX, but more on the centralized exchange part. And bringing this more to the XRP Ledger, this actual change, that would be really fantastic. Plus, if you think of something like the AMM pools, this is like in pools that you can contribute to. So you can essentially see, hey, there's institutions using this AMM pool, and I'm going to use it as well because it's an open, permissionless blockchain, and you can just contribute liquidity to or interact with them. It allows for a level playing field, not only among institutions, but even individuals and retail holders. Like you are the same as an institution on the XRP Ledger DEX. There's no advantage or disadvantage for either or, and that's really cool because right now you are not in Web2 world. A bank or any payment provider has the high ground, and you are just a retail customer, and either you get served or not. On the XRP Ledger DEX, everybody's the same basically.
You know what popped in my head, and this is probably a silly analogy, but back in the day, my kids brought home, they wanted to use LimeWire, right? You could download a song, and Amanda has a piece, and you have a piece. Everybody has a piece of the song, and boom, you could download the song pretty darn quickly. Little pieces of the song, and so as you
File
were
sharing.
talking, what's that?
File
What's that?
sharing.
Yes, file sharing. And so, I mean, in my simple mind, you're sharing, like you say, you can participate in this and use it for liquidity. So you're putting your stuff out there for them to use, like exchange or whatever. And then that's where people are going to make a little bit of fees, right? Because I'm saying, sure, you can use my stuff for a second, and it's there. I can, but yet because my keys, I'm holding it, I can withdraw it anytime. And so that's the beauty of this decentralized system that's being built for people to participate. Not, most people probably won't. I mean, the average bear probably won't do that. But for those that are smart and kind of give their attention, and that was at the beginning of the show. It's like saying, guys, we are in a financial transformation like you've never seen before. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity while you're living to start educating yourself and dip your toe into this just a little bit. Seek out people like Vet that are very knowledgeable about this, and throw the fear away. It's healthy to be skeptical and a little bit, of apprehension for like diving, right in. But there's so many awesome things happening. And even though it's not exactly the same, when you were talking about it, I'm like, well, that's like LimeWire in my mind, and they're doing the same thing with the file sharing and all of that kind of stuff. Instead of having everything in one centralized location, like you were just describing, these centralized exchanges, depending on one area, it's going to open it up, right? Am I kind of close?
I was just going to say before you answer, for me, I was on a Spaces yesterday and some guy was saying that they just decided that they were no longer going to have his account anymore. And there was no explanation. He just can no longer access his account. And for me, that's like, as a Canadian, By the way, I'm really okay with Trump joking that we might be the 51st state when he said that we will know, that you guys aren't going to have taxes on XRP anymore. But anyways, that's besides the point. I do like my maple leaf though. Yeah, and so for me on Uphold, so I used Uphold because everything else, I wasn't allowed on Binance anymore. I wasn't allowed on this one. When we kept getting these warnings, you have 30 days to get your stuff off this, and I'm like trying to scramble, like where can I put it? Where can I put it? And I put it on Uphold. Well, over the course of the past year, I quite literally go from like having all these tokens that have been told for me, to me for 5 years. Every couple months I get a message, oh, you have 30 days. Oh, you have 15 days. I think I just, and then like with HBAR, I couldn't, the Hashpack wallet kept forgetting my secret code. And so I was like trying to move my HBAR and it was the last day and then I didn't get it working. And so the HBAR gone, all my XDC gone. This past one, like last week, 2 weeks ago now, it's not there anymore. I'm sure of it was GeoJam because, I had a friend tell me about that, like, I don't know, a year ago. So I put my, $5 on it, got my like tiny little bag. And, that's the difference for me. And you really validated me, Vet, honestly, when you said this is the difference, because this is my argument to everybody is that when you own your wallet on XRP, you become your own institution. Exactly. And you can do what you will with that. But ultimately, if you got to know that you're playing a game, you got to know the rules that you're playing so that you can win at the damn game.
People say, and the original pitch was be your own bank, right? That was the pitch to all of us, and being your own bank is really it here, and to essentially do exactly that: be your own bank, hold your own assets, and transact with that whenever you like, and nobody can censor you. So with that in mind, and as well as what we talked about regarding you have all these different centralized exchanges, but you have also, of course, XRP that is being used here, is that once you have essentially like a critical mass of people who are transferring and using that, this will fuel more and more people to come in and utilize that liquidity, and that is fantastic. That is really cool, and it's like the go-to way how these things pick up. It just needs a little bit more time, but eventually you will see it materialize more and more over the time period. Right now, stablecoins, we have real-world asset tokenization that is being looked at. So these things are a moving target, but we're on a good path.
There's a quick question here. When you're using RLUSD, does it burn XRP?
No. For transaction fees, yeah, sure. Like if you transact on XRP Ledger, but the transaction fee is really minimal. It's really not where the value is coming from. It's really by the usage of it, and also auto bridging. That essentially when XRP acts as the bridge asset, this is where RLUSD is utilizing XRP, but it's not a transaction fee burn. The transaction fee burn is minimal.
Like, what about the guy yesterday? I saw a video and he went to McDonald's and he's like, I wonder if I can use my RLUSD. And he did. And he's like, it worked, guys. Does that burn XRP in that process? If you're doing like a Tangem card or something like that? I don't really know how all those things work.
If you transfer, like, let's say I pay you RLUSD, then I need to do a transaction. And the transaction fee is being burned, but it's minimal. So that is not really.
It's a little bit.
Tiny amount.
You guys always say that it's a little bit, but like I'm sitting here going a little bit, but I mean, as a bank, how many transactions go on a day? I mean, I actually was like looking at the math this past week because I was like, if you're having all the banks or, a lot of the banks doing transactions daily with all of their customers, plus you have people doing their debits and their internet transactions and then just like meme token it, like just trade in meme tokens, how long, how many transactions until there's like a billion burned. And I mean, obviously they've done the math and y'all have done the math and you figure that by the time it's all burnt out, we're going to be, in a totally new world and everything will be, hunky dory. But, it is quite the fascinating thing that they burn every transaction.
Yeah. Like even with normal, like with the full right now, let's say throughput, it would need like 100, probably even thousands of years to really burn it down. So really, right now, I would say it's not a concern of it if you really push it, because we have 100 billion. And even like in these 10, 12, 13, 14 years, I think I can quickly check on XRP scan. We burned
Quickly check.
yeah, 13 million XRP, 13 million.
And that's in 14 years?
And this is in 14 years, yeah.
But that's like no transactions. I mean,
Nobody's
that's just like
using.
yeah.
Yeah, there's not much usage of it exactly. So you could say it could be like way more. Like, let's say if you, as you mentioned, with a ton of banks or a ton of institutions using it, that would be way more. But you also want to keep a transaction fee still low, right? Like you want to have it not too expensive, because then you're kind of defeating the purpose of it, like being low cost and all that. So for me, the use case of XRP in the Ripple RLUSD or in general token setting is as the liquidity token between those assets. Because built in on the XRP ledger, what it does, let's say you want to transfer between RLUSD and, let's say in the future USDC does actually issue on the XRPL, you have RLUSD and USDC. And for whatever reason you want to transfer or trade from RLUSD to USDC, these trading pairs, what the XRP ledger does is looking at the following. It tries to give you always the best rate, the best conversion rate between RLUSD and USDC. And if it figures out that it actually is beneficial, if it does the following, it goes from RLUSD to XRP and then XRP to USDC, it does that. So it essentially, as the name suggests, it bridges or uses XRP as the bridge between those two tokens, because XRP is very liquid. The counterparty trade here is more liquid, and we'll use that. If it's not more liquid, it will not use it. But in case it is actually more liquid, it will use it. And that is, for me, the actual use case of XRP in the setting of trading tokens on the XRP. Of course, you have the store of value, or you just want to hold it and all of this. That's totally valid. But as a liquidity token, I think it's not mentioned too often here.
This is a good transition. I was going to say to Melissa that this is going to be a good transition to your next a question around reducing fees and voting on amendments. So I was just curious. Can you? My quick question was: is it possible to reduce the fees? Like, as the price of XRP goes up, can you vote on an amendment to reduce the fee?
Yes.
My thing is at some point, if I have RLUSD and I owe Amanda $20 and I want to give her $20 worth of RLUSD,
you better be giving it to me in XRP.
but I'm saying, like, at some point, could we just be moving straight RLUSD, right? Transacting in. I think he froze.
He looks like he's frozen.
Yeah.
He might have gotten a message or a call.
But I'm wondering, like, if we would be at some point transacting in RLUSD.
This is what I think. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna be able to listen to this or talk about it, because he probably got a call. He'll be back, I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
There you go. Sorry.
Sorry. I figured you'd press. So I was wondering, like, what if, you know, just in the future we're transacting in RLUSD? Like, if I want to give Amanda $20 in RLUSD and send it to her wallet, the fee would be wherever, however I'm transacting, right? Whatever, I don't know if I'd say a platform that I'm using to do it. I wouldn't need XRP to do that at this point, at that point, right?
You need XRP to transact always on the XRP ledger, like as a transaction fee, just, you know, as a buy cost. But it is votable by validators what the fee is going to be without an amendment. It's a continuous vote. You just run it. For example, we have just very recently, as you may know, we have reduced the reserves for account activation and for the trust lines. It was like previously 10 XRP to activate an account. Now it's 1 XRP. to activate an account. So that's really cool, yeah. And also,
That's very cool.
the same thing happens with fee voting. Also, you can vote for higher fees or for lower fees, and that will work. So you want to keep that balance of, hey, we're gonna have like a lower fee, transaction fee, but it should be still enough to prevent people from spamming, because the purpose of the fee, a transaction fee, is to prevent spamming on the ledger. That's literally the purpose of it. Why you have transaction fees, so that it costs you something, but not so much that you cannot use it, or it does make sense. Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter then if it's just an asset, like it's a good thing all the way around, because whether I'm going to just be sending someone RLUSD, or I want to send them Bitcoin, or I want to send them gold or whatever, I can use XRP as the bridge in between the two. We don't know on either side. We don't know what's happening. We just know that it's showing up in our wallets in
Exactly.
seconds, and it's costing minimal amount of fee
Exactly.
for the end user. It doesn't
Yep.
really cost anything. And that, and then the potential for folks that do actually hold the real asset. And I call XRP an asset. I think it's going to be a very valuable asset to hold.
Exactly. Yep.
That opportunity, in my opinion, as adoption gets, the higher the price goes, the less amount that you'll be able to buy. Even now that it's $2.50 or whatever it is today, you could buy a lot less than I could buy a couple months ago, right? And so the higher the price, the less the little guy can actually get in and even participate in the ecosystem, as far as being able to provide liquidity, right? Because
Exactly.
if you don't have the
That's a good point.
tokens to do it, you can't provide the liquidity to people.
Yeah, you can provide. Yeah, you can absolutely provide liquidity with other tokens like RLUSD if you have it, but XRP will always be the most desirable one to do this. So why? Because it has no counterparty. It's the only token on the XRP ledger that has no issuer. It's like Bitcoin, it's like Ethereum, it's like the native token of the protocol that has no one behind it, and therefore you cannot claw back, you cannot do a bunch of other things with it, and it gives it like a very unique position in the protocol, and that makes it very desirable for market makers to use it, because the only thing that they have to, and I'm quoting here Chris Larson, is the only thing that they have to look at is the price at any given moment, and not what is the counterparty risk of it, like someone defaulting, someone having any other issues on their end, because it has no issuer, there's no one behind it. It's like saying, who can default on gold? Who's the issuer of gold? It's Earth, you could say, but there's no one behind it that can default. It's not it's not a public traded company or something like that, and so that's why a lot of people call these things commodities, these tokens commodities, like Bitcoin and XRP, of course, which I agree with, because they fulfill a lot of these properties of commodities.
What do you think about that? Linda P. Jones talked about it like 2 years ago, that there was like a caveat at the end of a long conversation, and Brad Garlinghouse had sort of side mentioned, like, perhaps the SEC is not supposed to be our overbody. It should be the Futures and Trade Commission, I think it was, or it was commodities, basically. Yeah. What do you? I'm a Canadian, so I don't know all the names. What do you think about that?
So I agree with that. These assets are commodities, specifically the native tokens of blockchains like XRP, BTC, and so on. But it's also no surprise that Brad would say that, because I think everybody wants to have the CFTC just from a regulated body to be it, because they seem to be just totally different, more easy than the SEC. The SEC is very much hostile, so you kind of want anyone else, like everyone but the SEC, to be the government, the regulating body. And but we might see now with the new administration a huge shift in the SEC as well, and maybe Congress will, through Trump, will actually get some proper regulation going, that you can have actual categorization of these assets, like actually categories and of them, not just saying, hey, yeah, we believe so. It may be. At this point in stage in the adoption cycle, we need more guidance just from the government to move forward, because companies need to build, companies need to scale up, and at some point you go beyond your crypto users and you hit the threshold of maybe dealing with banks and institutions, and they're not going to touch you if they don't know what you're doing is even okay, because they have just too much to lose. That's the thing. So they're very conservative and they have way too much to lose, so they rather say, yeah, maybe not yet. They are also not in a rush. That's the thing, because it's a very much a technology that is disrupting a lot of their business, so they're really not in a rush either.
Well, I was saying to Melissa, we were talking earlier today, and I was saying, in a way, though, it's so nice for me, like people like me who are just learning as we go. Like, obviously it stops a lot of things to not know where to go and ask, like what are the regulations and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it allows those of us who have dreams and are little guys who don't know to be the pioneers. And I think that that's what's so exceptional about the XRPL in general, and getting to know you. And when I was like, it's funny, every time I read it, for some reason, it just escapes me. So I was like, went back to your profile today and I was like, oh yeah, XRP Cafe. Oh yeah. And then Melissa's like, oh yeah, First Ledger. I'm like, this guy's like behind so many things, but you're just a guy in your house, in your regular house with your regular life. And you're just, you're just a person. And I think that this is what's so beautiful about this stage, is that you're just a person. You're not the big bank executive who actually isn't even making any on the transaction and getting paid by the BlackRock that's getting paid on the transaction. You're the guy building who's actually getting a portion of the transaction. And so being able to actually talk to you and see that you're a real person, that's really what I think is what's such an opportunity. And for me especially, because I have this giant dream, and I'm not a developer. Are you kidding me? I'm not a computer science person. I didn't learn C++ back in the day. I'm the ICQ girl. But other than that, that's my experience. And all of a sudden, here we are in 2021, 22, 23, 24. I'm completely locked down in my house. I'm not allowed to leave my country or my house or go anywhere. And I'm building on the blockchain. I'm like, okay, apparently I'm going to build while the world burns around me.
I mean, look, it's fantastic to see just from the whole community, and and I always say everybody is building, even if it's not code. Like Melissa and with the show, and it's just something that is very important for an ecosystem to have everybody on board and do what they can. Some people are very good at coding. Some people are very good at educating others or being a good host. And there's so many places that are being filled and very, very important. And so many cool people in the community and very smart folks that I'm inspired daily by everybody, by people who are showing up and do their best to get this technology forward going and eventually get to a state where it makes actually people's life better, where you can see a huge shift in society. Because I think long term, this is what is the driver of this technology, is this societal shift that we have in the world, that everything is going more digital. Things are more internet native, digital natives, and everything is happening basically now on the web. So the only thing that is missing is pretty much the money part. Like, information is already everywhere on the web, so now money is moving on the web, and that is the missing part to get us maybe to the next stage in modern civilization. Let's see.
What's really incredible, and I'm looking forward to, and it's starting to happen, Bitcoiners in particular, Bitcoin and XRP communities coming together and realizing that we have more in common than they want us to know in the narratives that are put out there. Because for what I see is a freeing, more fair way for us to use money to do commerce across the world. When you're talking about being able to send money to anybody any time of the day in seconds, my God, that opens up tons of possibilities to some small business in another country that wants to sell a product or a service and get paid like legit money for that work instantaneously, or like us being able to participate in making a little bit, using our asset to get some fees for it. There's never been an opportunity like this. We're picking up the shovels, like we're providing the shovels by supporting this. Like the groundwork is being laid. And myself, I'm not a coder. I think it's fascinating. I would love to learn. I'm going to try to build myself a little something, but just even being able to talk and have conversations with you guys, and have you guys give me the time of day, really, and not make me feel silly when I ask my questions. But because so many of you have been so kind to me, I'm actually learning. And when I ask questions, I'm like, well, it doesn't sound so dumb after all, my thought process on it. But I feel like I can participate in, and like you said, I like, even those of us that aren't coders in that, we are builders. We're builders of the community. And
Absolutely.
it's just, I want everybody to know what an opportunity it is for you right now, even though the price of a lot of these things that are being built it is going up. It's still a great opportunity. Not financial advice. This show does not offer financial advice. We don't tell you to buy anything. You have to do your own research. This is not for sissies. This is not for somebody that's just looking for somebody to tell them what to do. You're going to have to learn yourself. But there's plenty of people, and the people that we bring on this show, we've researched and looked into, and we feel that they add value and have good perspective, and at least as the stepping point for you to jump off and really deep dive into these types of things. But yeah, I'm just so excited about what's happening, and the fact that I'm like kind of right in some of the stuff I'm saying. Yeah, it'd be super cool. What kind of advice would you give somebody new to the XRP community, as far as if they really want to dive into the community and get their feet wet? What would you suggest they do? Where do they start?
It's a really good, yeah, that's a good question. And I learned that, so if you like to learn more about the XRP Ledger in terms of its concepts that are not necessarily technical, but just in text form with nice graphics and pictures that you can just read through and just to get the knowledge, there would be a website called learn.xrpl.org. It's a very known, XRPL.org is a very known website. And with learn.xrpl.org, you have a huge variety of nice tutorials, nice graphics and concept explanation of the XRP ledger, just to get maybe some fundamentals in. And then I would absolutely go and just jump into the community, engage with spaces, listen just to people, maybe see if you find some nice groups that you can chat with. Always be careful as per usual. And maybe you're going to end up using, creating a Zaman wallet, which is like your gateway pretty much to a lot of the apps on the XRP ledger. And then you can just try out with just a couple of XRP certain apps or something else, and just to get more familiarized with everything on the XRPL. And don't be shy to ask questions. I think this is the most important part. Ask questions. If you don't get some, there's stupid questions, as you said. We all learning at the end of the day.
Yeah, I've definitely learned so much, and that is one thing I'll say is at every turn there's been super great people in the space that have if they don't know the answer, they could point me in the direction. And then you come across someone like Optimistic Prime, who, you know, this is the cool thing. Like, she has been building, she has her projects that she's been building, and just listening to her go walk through her journey, she's inspiring me to think like, maybe I can do this too, you know, type of thing. And so it's just super exciting.
I really appreciate you saying that, because like that, you know, now that you know who I am, maybe I can actually talk to you. Because, you know, I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl who lives on a bus, and, you know, I find it just so interesting being here. You know, Melissa, like, there's no dumb questions, and you're like, there's questions. Like, so I quit nursing school 11 years ago. And I was in my 4 days before the end of my second last semester. I was paid $50,000. And now I had no plan, and I quit because the last complaint against me was that I asked too many questions. And it had been a consistent thing against me since I was a little girl, right? I was always and I noticed this about the XRP community. I've heard it a lot, where people are like, I was the person who asked the questions when the person who's embarrassed, who doesn't know. So I was that kid, right? I'd ask the questions because, can we please get on to the next subject? I knew the guy at the back of the class who didn't know the answer was so embarrassed, and they don't want to ask the question because they don't want to out themselves. So I would ask questions that I knew the answers to, just so that the guy at the back of the class wouldn't feel embarrassed. And I feel that a lot of us are like that. And it's so fun to like meet people like, yeah, Melissa's like that. She asked the questions for the guy who's too afraid to ask. And, you know, sometimes, you know, it's hard to even know what question to ask, you know, and it takes so much effort to like figure out, okay, I have a problem. What is the problem? And what are the words? You know, and so often, you know, people just are not trained. They're trained to shut up. And especially like the you know, anything before the exennials, you know, like I'm an exennial, right? The middle way of watching this all go down. You know, I'm a little past Generation X, but the Generation Xers were basically, everybody from there back was told to shut up and, you know, not be noticed, don't make a fuss. And I think that this is what's so fascinating about this whole journey, is because we're actually retraining an entire generation of people that it's okay to not know, and it's okay to, you guys are so sweet. It's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to learn, and it's okay to grow, and it's okay to not know, you know. And that was the thing, is I started building on Stellar because it was cheap. And, you know, I found somebody on Fiverr, but that person on Fiverr disappeared 4 days after my token was created. It took me a year just to find somebody to explain how to move my Tomo file. In fact, I lost like $250 trying to find somebody to just like, I was like, okay, I have this token, but I need the Tomo file moved over because it's being hosted on this girl's website and she's disappeared off the face of the planet. You know, then one thing led to the next, which led to the next, which led to me to somebody who knew what the hell a Tomo file was, and then knew what to do with the Tomo file when I, you know, because I still had the codes for the original issuer. And then I created my other tokens, and then now I've moved over to the XRPL. And, you know, some of the things that have happened is I just found out 2 weeks ago, because like so I made 2 tokens on the XRPL using the creator app, the X apps creator app on Examine. I like calling it Examine because it sounds like you're like looking at it, and like I know everybody, I don't know, that's what I call it, Examine. Yeah, Examine, but I'm like, no, it's examining the future of the blockchain. So yeah, so I've used that, and then I don't have enough. I don't have my projects are all, you know, they're little guy projects. They're a girl with a dream projects. There's no, and I don't want to get in trouble by taking any money from anybody, so I have not taken any investment money or nothing. And I found out like 2 weeks ago that, oh, no, you could just do coding and you could actually issue a token not for 100 XRP. I'm sorry, what? Like that 100 XRP is a lot of money right now in Canadian dollars, like $333. And so yesterday, and so I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. So there's these little, you know, there's this learning curve. And so often the conversations that I've been having with people is like, why is this so hard? I'm like, we are the beta testers. We are the ones learning as we're going and finding the things. And like, just like the first ledger, you know, I'm sure that I've had like 3 or 4, you know, pretty big bugs, but, you know, I see I see your support page. It's just like never ending. And then I
Incredible.
go over to the First Ledger page and I'm like, I don't want to bug you guys, but like I have a couple issues. And then you get like
Somebody help me.
7 scammers sending
Yeah,
you messages. So then you're just like, well, screw this. I don't care. Whatever. It'll come back to me in the end. But
it's
there's like,
terrible.
it's terrible. And, right now I actually have a token that was issued on First Ledger that's called the butt token, and they stole my image and they put it there and they won't, there's no warning on it. Yeah. And I'm not on First Ledger because I made my token on February 29th, which I also find very interesting because like, I don't know how that's going to go like every year, but whatever. I do have some questions
Yeah.
about, the progress of those kinds of things, the imposters, and also the bridging. So one questions that I really would love to have answered today, and we can maybe have a side conversation at one point.
Sure.
I would love that. So one of the things that's happening right now for me personally is I am in the process of deciding that I'm going to create the membership for my humanitarian project as an NFT. I have used XRP Cafe to mint my 2 collections, the Blue Umbrella collection, which Melissa has a picture on there, and it's like pretty exclusive to people who are part of my vision and who want to co-create with me. The other one is the new tinfoil hat. So it's a lot of controversial shit. I was a little scared about minting it, to be honest with you, because I was like, I don't know who the people are behind here. Maybe they're going to kick me off their thing. Seems like people are pretty reasonable to my conspiratorial mind, which is pretty nice. But I'm at this point where I found Will from TextRP. And Will from TextRP has a solution to if you want to have a real relationship with somebody who purchases an NFT. So one of the biggest things that I have right now is if you want to create a membership as an NFT, you need a method to be able to communicate with those people. So right now on xrp.cafe, once all the information that you guys have as the input when you're minting the original NFT, none of them can be modified. None of them can be like, there's no link, like a link back to something where I could change it as in an update. Or if like the website, like one of the big things right now is unstoppable domains versus old school web 2.
You mean changing the NFT appearance?
Like, no. Just if somebody were to go to the NFT. So right now, his suggestion was Opulence, because Opulence just created a thing where you can actually add a link to the TextRP chat room. You know TextRP, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, we don't have TextRP integration right now. I think that's what you're referring to, right?
Well, I'm more referring to because TextRP integration isn't there yet, which I'm assuming is going to come in the future. I'm more wondering if there is like a way to add a box where it just the most up-to-date place to have a communication, so that when people are purchasing these NFTs, so at all my NFTs, I have like Dipatosho. On Melissa's, I put Dipatosho. I put her X handle. I put her, her website. And so if that evolves, if that changes, I can't change that. But if there was a box on the page that I could modify, that when they go to the,
you can actually change it. Yeah, you can actually change. So yeah, how you can change it is the following: you log in with your issuer account. Okay, so you log in with the account that issued the NFT. Into XRP Cafe, and then on your collection page, it should look like edit profile or there should be a button. And if you click on it, you can change things like the description, like the link to the website or your X profile, like these basic things you can change. And even the cover page you can change.
But that's not to the actual, because so each NFT in my collection is minted separately and each one is for a different person. So you can't change that information, right?
Oh, the information of the specific NFT?
Yes.
Yeah, currently not possible.
Yeah.
That will be possible in a very near future. Indeed.
Oh,
dynamic
real?
NFTs.
Oh,
Well,
really?
thank you for that little bit of information. Appreciate. And yeah, because it would be also, is there like an extra link you guys could add where like we could be like TextRP group and then, click
Yeah,
there,
that,
and
that
then
integration was asked a lot by a lot of people. We should definitely look into that with XRP. Yeah.
sweet. Thank you so much.
We are at 10 o'clock.
Nice.
Just wondered if you had any final thoughts before we say goodbye. Any final thoughts about where are there any exciting things happening, which you just kind of told us that, which for people that are developing these NFTs, this is a good thing, but is there anything else that you can fire people up about?
I think now is the time really to how should I say it? Now is really the time to really be proud of the XRP community, be really proud of what we went through. We went through so much and for such a long time. And now we are at the stage where things are starting to materialize. And for a lot of people who may have not been technical, may have not been always up to date, but they had always the gut feeling, the emotional intelligence to see, hey, something special is here. I think they and everyone else is now being or is going to be rewarded very good in 2025 going forward as things are materializing. I'm very optimistic about the future of the XRP community, XRP Ledger, the on-chain economy of it, and people will do very well in my opinion, because things are aligning very well, and there's a lot of traffic. A lot of people are noticing the XRP Ledger, and it's the opportunity market. You know, I keep saying XRP and XRP is the opportunity market for everyone. Like if you are a host for a show, it's a fantastic way on the XRP Ledger to grow. If you're a builder, it's a fantastic way. If you someone who wants to look into assets, it's a fantastic way, because it's literally, and you see this on X, it's literally a community, it's a blockchain, top 3, that people are still not understanding it. I come across comments when XRP is pumping or something like that. I come across comments or posts on X by people from Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin saying, wait a minute, XRP has its own chain? I didn't know that. And I was like,
Right.
how is that possible? Like, how is it possible that a top 3 blockchain, people are still not understanding it? Which in turn is also showing you the upsides of this. Like, where do you have a top 3 chain that nobody knows of? Like, it's not possible.
Wild.
And yeah, it's wild, but I'm just super happy, and I think yeah, there's a lot to come. Real asset tokenization is gonna ramp up more. Yeah, and community building is coming more. Like a lot of people being paying attention more to the XRP community. So it's honestly, it's now our time to shine, and
Like a
I think
diamond.
yeah, we are very much shining. So yeah, I'm just super happy, and thanks again for having me. I really loved the conversation with both of you.
Oh, well, I'm so thankful. One quick little question from Gotta Be wants to
Yeah, sure.
know, and I was going to ask this: where does the name VET originate from?
Oh, that's a good question.
That was a good question that I was going to ask you, and I didn't have it written down.
Yeah, so there's one of my best friends, Monkey, is also part of the team, and back then there was like, so for my ex-president, I was looking for a new name, and he was saying, hey, and we were just talking about it very briefly, and we just chose something very simple and short, and it was literally that. So unfortunately, and this is like very sad, there's no much meaning behind it other than just a short name. It turned out to be okay, so yeah, it's just something very short that people can actually just, yeah, it's not like a long name.
Very cool. Well, we thank you guys. There's 391 of you listening. Before we say goodbye, if you'd please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. You can follow VET on X at VET_XO or OX. XO, right?
XO, yeah.
XO.
X0, X0. It's
X0. That's what it is.
We're gonna say-
X0.
Can I say one thing before you leave?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say the vet of the XRPL trenches. You should totally have you been to trench warfare late at night yet on Spaces?
Not yet, but I know Floxon.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wonderful.
he's a cool
We
guy.
would,
Cool guy.
we would love to have you. I just wanted to know if you wanted to plug your space, any upcoming spaces. I know that you're doing one with.
Yeah, so
yeah.
XLR is going to be on Monday, but there is now a space that I haven't announced yet. Actually, it's upcoming on Friday with the CEO of Uphold. And
Oh, nice.
so everybody come in and ask a question just like about Uphold, whatever you think. Maybe if you want to ask what is their plans with RLUSD and what else is upcoming, come on in, as Brad Kimes would say.
Come on in. That'll be
And you
on
were also gonna
Friday at
talk
what
about-
time?
It's gonna be. It's not. So we haven't really looked into time, but probably around 4 p.m. Eastern, 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Okay. What
And
was
you were
that
also
again?
going to have a conversation with Lost Art. Did you want to?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm jumping right now in.
Yeah. So if you want
Ah.
to go hang out with Bet right
Yeah.
now, go check out Lost
Do it.
Art. Sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Lost
much
Art
for
on
this time,
X.
and I can't wait.
Appreciate
You guys,
it. Bye-bye.
everyone, thank you so much. Thanks. We'll see you next time on Dip a Toe. Have a good rest.